Good Monday morning, everyone. Hope your week is getting off to a good start. We've got a little bit of NFL news that it relates to the Seahawks tangentially, right? Like it's not directly related to the Seahawks, but it gives me an opportunity to talk about something that a lot of Seahawks fans have been buzzing about a little bit lately. So, last night we got some interesting news, unexpected news. A certain star NFL running back got arrested on a battery charge shortly after playing in the Pro Bowl. Saints running back Alvin Kamara arrested on battery charge in Las Vegas after playing in the Pro Bowl. So, I don't have a lot of details at this time, but it seems like that after the Pro Bowl, Kamara went to a nightclub and assaulted somebody and is now under arrest for that. And obviously, this directly relates to the Saints, but it tangentially relates to the Seahawks. And the reason why, as most of you probably know by now, the New Orleans Saints are known to need to trade some guys. They need to get under the cap. They need to get rid of some players that they know are good, and Alvin Kamara is near the front of the list. The Saints need to trade him. They can't cut him really because there isn't big savings there, but if they can trade him, now you're talking. And the Seahawks are considered potential buyers for Alvin Kamara. This has been reported all over the internet. Nothing super official or anything, but a lot of people who claim to know people who know guys who know guys who know guys say that the Seahawks will be potentially in on an Alvin Kamara trade. Now, you would think that this arrest, if it ends up having merit, would put the clamps on this story, right? Honestly, if what Kamara did was bad enough to maybe end up in prison, it could void his contract, and then he's just out of the NFL, and it could be a little while before somebody's willing to pick him up at all. It could be like a Kareem Hunt type of situation. So this story may very well be dead in the water, and I'll say it straight up personally. I hope it's dead in the water. I don't want Alvin Kamara. I really don't want to trade for him. And just generally speaking, I don't think that's a good use of our resources. We have resources to work with this offseason, but not an infinite number. And pumping a bunch into a guy like an Alvin Kamara, not really for me. So I'm kind of happy about it from that angle. But let's talk about the Alvin Kamara thing outside of this incident. So, a lot of people linking the Seahawks to trading for Kamara. And let's talk about the money here. So, as I understand it, this is how it works. So Kamara is due $5.5 million in base salary in 2022, $3 million in a signing bonus, and $6 million in a roster bonus. Now, if Kamara were traded to the Seahawks, I believe the way it would work would be this. I went to this FAQ on russellstreetreport.com for how the salary cap works in the event of a trade. And it says that for the team acquiring the player, a trade means that the new team acquires the player's remaining contract but does not have any liability for any bonus money previously paid to the player. So basically, we would inherit Kamara's current contract, which runs through 2025. And it's a pretty fat contract. There's quite a bit left. It was a 5-year, $75 million deal when it was signed, and there's still 4 years and I don't know exactly how much money, but a heck of a lot of money left on this contract. So, what would we have to take on if we traded for Kamara? Well, the base salary, right? Because according to the FAQ I just pulled up here, Kamara has already gotten his $3 million from the Saints in his signing bonus. So we wouldn't have to worry about the $3 million. But we would have to take on the $5.5 million. And even though it's a bonus, I believe we would also have to eat the roster bonus. Because the way you earn your roster bonus is that you're on the roster by a certain date. So if the Saints trade Kamara, then he won't be on their roster, so he would not get $6 million from them. I believe he would get that $6 million from us. So the base salary is manageable, and not having to pay the $3 million signing bonus is nice. But if I'm right about the roster bonus counting against the team that trades for Kamara, and I think that I am, I poked around here, and as near as I can tell, that's the case, then you're still looking at an $11.5 million cap hit for Kamara in 2022. And then in 2023, you're looking at a $9.4 million base salary hit, plus $1.5 million roster bonus, plus $100,000 workout bonus. So you're looking at an $11 million cap hit for 2023, or you cut him and save $5 million. And 2024, easy to cut. So, I don't know. You guys know how I feel about running backs. You guys know how I feel about paying running backs. If I'm wrong about the roster bonus thing, and the Saints actually do have to cover that, or at the very least the Seahawks don't have to cover that, then this becomes very different, right? It becomes at least plausible. But assuming that I'm right, paying Alvin Kamara a combined, what would it be, $22.5 million? No. Yeah, $22.5 million over 2 seasons when he's about to turn 27. I miss me with that, right? I can't do that. Because here's the thing. If you have, let's just look at 2022. Because you can have Kamara for, let's say it's $11.5 million. But you know what? We could even say 5.5. Let's say we don't have to cover the roster bonus. Let's say it's 5.5. You can have Kamara for $5.5 million. Or you can have Rashad Penny for $3 million, Marlon Mack for $2 million, plus a rookie, late round or mid round rookie whose initial rookie season cap hit will probably be around $500,000. And what would you rather do? Would you rather have all your eggs in the Kamara basket? Would you rather say, okay, we're going to put all of these $5.5 million into one running back who, by the way, has some miles on his body? We'll get to that in a second. Or would you rather split it among 3 players, 2 guys who don't have a ton of miles on them at all, Mack and Penny, because Mack has basically not played the last 2 seasons, and Penny has been on and off the field his whole career, plus a rookie who has very little wear and tear on his body, relatively speaking? Or would you rather put all your eggs in that Kamara basket? With the way running backs are in the NFL right now, I don't see how you wouldn't take the multifaceted option, where if you bring back Penny, bring in Mack, and draft a rookie, or not a rookie, maybe you could say, hey, DJ Dallas, we're going to see what you got. Plus Travis Homer, by the way. He's probably going to be in place regardless because he's a good third down back. But that way, if Penny gets hurt, you've got Mack. If Mack gets hurt, you've got Penny. If both of them get hurt, you have the rookie, you have Homer. Maybe you still have DJ Dallas if you're considering him outside of this equation. And DJ did show a little bit here and there last year. Like, wouldn't you just rather spend the same amount of money to get 3 players instead of the 1 player, knowing how the NFL works? Looking at Alvin Kamara as a player, I think it's tempting to say, hey, he's about to turn 27. Right before the season starts, he's going to turn 27. That's not that old. But it's not the years, it's the miles. And Alvin Kamara, after this most recent season ended, had reached almost 1,300 touches in his NFL career. 1,300 touches. And if you take a look, it's already starting to take an effect, right? 2017, he averaged 6.1 yards a carry and had over 80 catches, right? 13 touchdowns, one of the best young running backs in the league. 2018, 4.6 yards a carry, still solid, over 80 catches. 2019, 4.7 yards a carry, over 80 catches. 2020, 5 yards a carry, over 80 catches. But we can see that he is missing the occasional game, missing a couple games here and there, as running backs typically do. It's not a capital offense. And then 2021, this most recent season, yards per carry all the way down to 3.7. That's below average. That's downright bad. Not even 50 catches. And I know he was playing with a bad quarterback, right? For most of the year, he was stuck with guys like Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian, Ian Book. He didn't have a real quarterback for a good chunk of the season. By the way, single-digit touchdowns for, the second time in his career. So you can already see we're kind of at the cliff with Kamara, right? 2021 was already the kind of the year where, yeah, you can say that he wasn't working with a whole lot on that New Orleans offense because they're just, again, no quarterback, no Michael Thomas. They had some offensive line injuries. Yeah, all these things obviously play a factor. But bottom line is, he did have a season where he nosedived in terms of overall production. And he can make excuses for it, but he did also miss 4 games, which is more games than he missed, as many games as he missed combined over the previous 3 seasons. And I'm not really seeing a guy who is worth all that money. What I estimate to be at $11.5 million in 2022. Even if it's $5.5 million, I don't know if it's worth it. Because you have to take a look at some of these numbers and also consider some other running backs in the league right now and what we see from them to get an idea of what might be coming for Kamara. Ezekiel Elliott, good example. The first few seasons of Zeke's career, just take these first 4 seasons. Really, really productive. Maybe the most productive overall running back in the league. Averaged over 1,350 yards a season rushing. Had averaged, over 100 yards from scrimmage per game. 4.6 yards a carry. Got up past 1,300 touches, which is pretty close to where Kamara is. And these last 2 years, sorry, my bad. Last 2 years, he's averaging about 4.1 yards a carry. Significant step down. Barely eclipsed 1,000 yards last year. Needed all 17 games after failing to do so altogether in 2020. So not even 1,000-yard rusher on average the last 2 seasons. So those first 4 years, he's great, fantastic, phenomenal, special stuff. And by the way, those numbers I posted were with him missing 6 games in 2017 and a game in 2016 and 2018. So very, very special player. Very obviously one of the best, maybe the best running back in the league. And then after 1,300 touches, you can see it's not the same. And you can definitely make some excuses for Zeke. The offensive line's getting worse. The Cowboys aren't running the ball as much as they used to, because they got guys like Amari Cooper, but bottom line is the production is clearly starting to dip. Derrick Henry, and now we'll see about Derrick Henry, but the dude was not a big-time player the first few years in the league, but 2018 he started to get going, and then he had these 2 monster seasons, 2019, 2020, 2,000-yard rusher, and after the first 5 years of his career, he was up close to 1,300 touches. So, had some wear on his body, and we'll see where this goes. But in 2021, he got hurt. He missed half the season. That's not a good sign, right? And even when he played, 4.3 yards a carry. Not special, not terrible, but not really anything you'd say is worth being one of the highest paid running backs in the league. So maybe we're starting to see it with Henry as well. They get to a certain amount of wear and tear on their bodies, and then it's over. Christian McCaffrey. This guy hasn't even gotten there yet. He's only played 5 years, and he's already starting to break down. If you take a look at his career, he hasn't even gotten to 1,200 touches yet. And already we may have seen the best he has to offer. He's basically been a non-factor the last 2 seasons. He's got like, I think, 1,000 combined yards from scrimmage over the last 2 years. He's played 10 games over the last 2 years. So the cliff came already. So if you're looking at Kamara and you're saying the amount of wear and tear on his body indicates he's probably close to the cliff, and then you see him fall off the cliff last year, you can either go, well, it's because he didn't have a quarterback and the offensive line and Michael Thomas, or you can go, no, Kamara's probably doing the same stuff that other running backs are doing. He's just wearing down, and if you trade for him now, you're trading for a contract albatross. That seems to be the case to me. So, as near as I can tell, if you trade for Kamara, you owe him $22.5 million over the next 2 years, because you do have to cover the roster bonus. If I'm wrong about that, then it's a much more reasonable $5.5 million in 2022, and then it would be $9.5 million in 2023. But either way, just give me the three-headed monster. Just give me Penny, Mac, and Rookie X. Give me Penny, Fournette, and Rookie X. Maybe throw DJ Dallas in there. This is not a position you just need to spend big on, especially not for a player who looks like the cliff is, if not already here, it's about to be there. None of those players that I went over in the last section of this video, Zeke, Henry, and McCaffrey, none of them are radically older than Kamara is about to be. In fact, I think McCaffrey is younger, and Zeke and Henry are about the same age, or were about the same age when the cliff came. So I'm not seeing this one, guys, and fortunately, I'm probably not going to have to worry about it, because if this charge against him in Vegas holds any merit, then he's not really going to even be on the table. He might not even have a contract to trade for. He might not even be somebody in the NFL this upcoming season. We'll have to see where that goes. But if he were to somehow get cleared, and if he were free and clear to be traded this offseason, I'm out. And I say that knowing that the Saints are not going to ask for that much. They just want to get out from that salary. They might be willing to part with him for like a 4th-round pick or a 5th-round pick. They just want to get him out. But yeah, not interested in bailing the Saints out in this way. There are other players on that team that I would be interested in, but not Kamara. All right, let me know what you guys think. That's my take. If you know whether or not the acquiring team has to take on the roster bonus for a fact, comment down below. I believe, based off my research, that the acquiring team is on the hook for the roster bonus, and that makes sense because it's a roster bonus. But if you know otherwise, let me know. Too much money either way. That's what I say. Go Hawks.